Genius is a flower of great rarity that grows in the most unlikely places. Recognition of genius is an accolade that usually becomes a posthumous award. Certainly, this is true of the man called simply O.Henry, master of the tale with a twist, and one of the greatest storytellers of all time. The O.Henry Playhouse, dramatizing some of the most diverting stories ever told. We've been told that it's as easy for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle as for a rich man to attain paradise. Here is a tale of the rich and the newly poor, cast in an unexpected setting and burdened with an extremely curious title, Bo Peep of the Ranchers.
So I guess that's it, Auntie. I'm a pauper. Not merely a widow, mark you, but also a pauper.
Oh, you're so extreme in your statements, Octavia, dear. Now, if you find yourself temporarily in need of small change, my purse is in the drawer of the writing desk.
Oh, dearest Auntie, it isn't a case of small change. It's abject, staring, unpicturesque poverty. I've just come from my late husband's lawyer, and, well, the fact is, ma'am, I ain't got nothing at all.
Oh, do be serious, my dear, long enough to tell me what you mean. Now, Colonel Beaupre's estate...
Colonel Beaupre's estate turns out to be of Spanish castellar architecture. Colonel Beaupre's resources are wind. Colonel Beaupre's stocks are water.
Octavia!
Colonel Beaupre's income is all in.
Oh, Octavia, I can hardly believe it.
Auntie dear, these past 2 hours of the lawyers, I've had to.
And to think I was under the impression he was worth millions. And the de Pestas themselves introduced him.
Oh, de mortuus nihil, Auntie. Oh, the dear old Colonel, what a gold brick he was after all. Oh, well, I paid for my bargain fairly. I'm not going to squeal. Isn't that what they call it when you rail at fortune because you've lost the game?
Octavia, dear, there is my 3,000.
Oh, darling, your 3,000 is just sufficient to keep the Persian in sterilized cream. No, Octavia Beaupre née Vandressa is going to earn her own living. Yes, there's nothing else to do.
Earn your living? But at what, dear?
Yes, exactly what at. Oh, I'd forgotten. There's one thing saved from the wreck. It's a corral. No, a ranch in, let me see, Texas. An asset, dear old Mr. Bannister called it. Oh, how pleased he was to show me something unencumbered.
Oh, a ranch in Texas. Oh, it sounds to me more like a liability than an asset. Those are the places where the centipedes are found and cowboys and fandangos.
The Rancho de la Sombra. It is situated 110 miles southeast of San Antonio and 38 miles from its nearest railway station, Nopal.
Oh, dear me, the ends of the earth.
No, listen. Ranch consists of 7,860 acres of well-watered land with title conferred by state patents, 8,000 graded merino sheep with the necessary equipment of horses, vehicles, and general ranch paraphernalia. Ranch house built of brick, all within a strong barbed wire fence. The present manager seems to be competent and reliable and is rapidly placing on a paying basis a business that in other hands had been allowed to suffer from neglect.
Oh, that prospectus fails to mention the centipedes. And you never did like mutton?
Auntie, I'm going to learn to like mutton. I'm going to that ranch.
Octavia, but you, a girl gently bred.
I shall even concede the good qualities of centipedes at a respectful distance. Oh, it's just what I need. A new life just when my old one is ending. Why, it's a release, Auntie. It isn't a narrowing.
Oh, my dear child.
No, don't say another word. I'm going. Oh, I'll see the sky at night fit down on the world like a big butter dish cover, and I'll make friends with the stars that I haven't had a chat with since I was a wee child. Oh, I want to go.
But you...
Oh, I'm tired of all this, Auntie. I'm glad I haven't any money. Why, I could bless my late husband for that ranch and forgive him all his bubbles.
Oh, but my dear...
What if the life will be rough and lonely? I deserve it. I shut my heart to everything, except money. Oh, I want to get away and forget.
Oh, Octavia. There was somebody else. No, I didn't know. Who was it, my dear?
thought at least my manager might have... Why, Teddy Westlake, is that really you?
Octavia Van Dressa, what are you doing in Texas?
Well, what are you?
Well, I'm working down here.
Well, I'm living down here.
Seriously? You didn't notice on the train an old lady with gray curls and a poodle who occupied 2 seats with her bundles and quarreled with the conductor, did you?
No. Oh, you haven't by any chance noticed a big man in a blue shirt and 6 shooters with little flakes of merino wool sticking in his hair, have you?
Oh, lots of them. Do you happen to know any such individual?
No, the description's imaginary. Oh, is your interest in the little old lady a personal one, Teddy?
Never saw her in my life, Dave. She's painted entirely from fancy.
Oh.
She owns the little piece of property where I earn my bread and butter, the Rancho de la Sombra.
The rancho? You mean you're the manager of the ranch?
I certainly am.
I'm Mrs. Beaupre. But my hair never would curl, and I was polite to the conductor.
But you mean you... Oh, well, I hope you'll excuse me. You see, I've been down here quite a while and out of touch. I hadn't heard.
Oh, it's perfectly all right.
Well, you give me your checks, please, and I'll have Jose load your luggage under the wagon. I drove over in the buckboard instead of the station wagon. I hope you don't mind.
Well, if a buckboard's horse-drawn, I'm delighted.
Good. Then, if you'll come this way, Mrs. Beaupre.
Seated beside Teddy in a featherweight buckboard, Octavia abandoned all thought as they struck across a world carpeted with an endless reach of curly mesquite. The temperate wind, made fragrant by thousands of acres of blue and yellow wildflowers, roared gloriously in their ears. Octavia sat silent, possessed by a feeling of elemental, sensual bliss. Tall, tanned Teddy Westlake seemed to be wrestling with some internal problem.
Yep, that's it. I'm going to call you Madama.
Madama?
Well, the Mexicans will. They're nearly all Mexicans on the ranch, you know. And that seems to me about the proper thing.
Oh, very well, Mr. Westlake.
Hey, now that's carrying the thing too far, isn't it?
Oh, don't bother me with your beastly etiquette. I'm just beginning to live. Don't remind me of anything artificial. Oh, if only this air could be bottled. Oh, look. Look, there's a deer.
A jackrabbit.
Might I drive?
On one condition. Might I smoke a cigar?
Forever. Here, give me the reins.
Yeah, there. Keep a sour by southeast and all sail set. I'll recite you the whole code of driving rules for the Texas prairies. Keep the reins from under the horse's feet and swear at them frequent.
Oh, I'm too happy to swear, Ted. Oh, why do people buy yachts when a buckboard and a pair of nags in a spring morning like this can satisfy all desire?
Oh, no, I'll ask you not to call those 2 denizens of the air nags. They can kick out 100 miles between daylight and dark.
Room? I know now what I wanted. Scope, range, room.
Madama, however did you get it into your head to cut the crowd and come down here? Is it a fad now among the upper classes to trot off to ranches instead of Newport?
Well, I was broke, Teddy. I haven't a thing in the world but this ranch.
Dave.
In fact, it's the only home I've got. And do you happen to know of any fashionable caprice among the gilded youth of Manhattan that induces them to abandon polo and yachting to become managers of ranches?
Well, now, that's easily explained in my case. I had to go to work. So I chummed a while with old Sanford, who owned the ranch before Colonel Beaupre bought it. I wasn't manager at first. I jogged around until I saw where the place was losing, and, well, then I was put in charge. I get $100 a week and earn it.
Oh, poor Teddy.
It's okay, I like it. I save half my wages, and I'm as hard as a water plug. Beach polo.
Well, will it furnish bread and tea and jam for another outcast from civilization?
Well, the spring shearing has just cleaned up a deficit. The autumn clip will leave a small profit over all expenses. Next year, there'll be jam. Well, this is it. The ranch house. How's it look?
Like a home, Teddy. That's what it is. It's a home.
Yeah, well, it's pretty rough, but not so bad. I've been tinkering on it at odd times. Hey, give those horses a good rub, Don Manuel.
Si, senor.
Oh, so you're back, Mr. Westlake.
Yeah, there's Mrs. McIntyre, the housekeeper. Mrs. Mac, here's the boss.
Oh, really? But she's so young, Mr. Westlake.
Yeah, she is, isn't she?
Hello, Mrs. McIntyre.
Welcome to you, Mrs. Beaupre. Do come in.
Oh, thank you.
Very likely the boss will be wanting a hunk of bacon and a dish of beans after a trip, Mrs. Mac.
I like that, Mr. Westlake. Now, whatever will the young lady think she's fallen into?
Oh, don't apologize for Teddy, Mrs. McIntyre.
Teddy?
Well, that's what I call him. Like everyone else, he hasn't duped into taking him seriously. You see, we used to cut paper dolls and play jackstraws together ages ago.
Oh, you don't say no.
No one minds what Teddy says.
No one minds what Teddy says, just so he doesn't do it again.
Oh, now, Mr. Westlake likes his joke, but people around here usually pay attention to what he says when he talks in earnest.
Thank you, Mrs. Mac.
Ah, fair is fair, Mr. Westlake. Upon my word, ma'am, I don't know what would have become of this place without him.
Oh, I guess I'd better go out and see how they're getting on. Mrs. Mac will show you your room, Madama.
Thank you.
Aye, I'll show you. No luxuries, but clean and comfy. And Mr. Westlake's put some of his books in your room to... Something wrong, ma'am?
No. For a moment, I thought Teddy remembered.
Remembered, ma'am?
Wishful thinking, Mrs. Mac. Beyond a doubt, he's forgotten everything.
Oh. Well, I'm afraid I don't quite know what that means.
That could make two of us, Mrs. Mac.
Madama lay awake for a long time that first night. Listened to faint, strange sounds, the fractious yelping of the coyotes, the ceaseless low symphony of the wind, the lamentation of a concertina in the Mexicans' quarters. There were many feelings in her heart: thankfulness and rebellion, peace and disquietude, loneliness and a sense of protecting care, happiness and an old haunting pain. The memory of the last time she'd seen Ted Westlake.
You may as well face it, Tavia. You're going to marry me.
No, I'm going to marry money.
Rot. I love you and you're going to marry me, Tave.
I'm not. I want you to go. And I never want to hear this love nonsense out of you again.
Well, if that's the way you like it, you won't. Never again.
But next morning, things looked much better to Octavia.
Your kingdom, Madama, flocks, dipping vats, shearing pens, the lot.
And all enclosed within a strong barbed wire fence.
Huh?
Oh, my lawyer's description of this property. Yes, it might apply to my manager, too.
Me?
Oh, I shouldn't get personal, but you are, you know. You're different. Come on, Pancho. Go ahead with your account of your stewardship, Mr. Westlake. It's very impressive.
Si, Madama. Shearing pens over this way, dipping vats to the left.
Explain it all to me. I want to learn. Or at least understand.
Right?
Do you still paint a bit, Teddy, and write a bit?
No.
Sorry. Carry on, Mr. Westlake.
Corrals and wool sheds.
Oh, those oak trees. I think they're the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
Well, they're what gives the ranch its name, you know.
De la Sombra.
Ranch of the Shadows. Ranch of the Shade, as it were.
Oh, when I think of what Aunt Ellen threatened me with. Mutton and wild Indians and centipedes, desolation. Yes, and how I felt herring across country in that train. Only yesterday.
Oh, now, don't make any mistake, Madama. It's lonely out here, all right, and there are centipedes. And it's always going to be a battle to make the place pay.
Yes, but you... yes, I suppose so.
Well, wait till summer comes and the droughts. The hot season runs right through May to September. Buenos dias, Pedro.
Buenos dias, senor.
Buenos dias, Pedro.
Buenos dias, Madame Beaupeep.
I'll soon get all their names right.
Well, they'll never get yours right. Sounded like Bo Peep.
Very apt with all my sheep.
I dub you Madama Bo Peep of the Rancho de la Sombra.
July. I've decided it's my favorite month.
Yeah, still too hot and dry for my liking. It's just as well I installed those extra water tanks last spring, Madama.
I was thinking of the nights. Oh, now I know what they mean by fragrant and languorous and all those lovely words.
Speaking of fragrance, you mind if I have a cigar, Madama?
No, I like it.
Well, you should. I smoke nothing but the best Havana.
Oh, isn't that awfully expensive for a ranch manager?
Well, it's my one remaining luxury, Madama. I'm feeling pretty hopeful about the autumn clip.
Oh, good. This is just the night to prognosticate about the autumn clip.
Well, your future may well depend on the autumn clip.
Then by all means prognosticate.
I'll just leave you a jug of iced drink, Madama, and take myself off to bed.
Oh, won't you come and sit with us, Mrs. Mac?
Oh, and have that smoke blown in my face for the rest of the night.
Oh, now don't be hard on me, Mrs. Mac.
Good money going up in flames, Mr. Westlake.
Absolutely. But an innocent vice, Mrs. Mac.
Oh, nice talk before Madama. I'll say good night then.
Good night, Mrs. Mac.
Good night.
Good night, Mrs. Mac.
Teddy, what are you working down here on a ranch for?
100 per and all found.
Oh, I've got a good mind to fire you.
Can't.
And why not?
Under contract. Terms of sale respect all unexpired contracts. Mine runs until 12 p.m. December 31st.
Oh, it does?
Well, you might get up at midnight on that date and fire me.
I just might.
Well, don't try it sooner. I'll be in a position to bring legal proceedings. But I've been thinking of resigning anyway.
Resign? Oh, well, it's lonely down here. I don't wonder you're anxious to get back to the old life. Polo and lobsters, theaters, balls.
Well, I never cared much for balls.
Why, you're getting old, Teddy. Your memory's slipping. Why, nobody ever knew you to miss a dance unless it happened on the same night as another one you attended. Yes, you showed such shocking taste, too, dancing too often with the same partner. Let me see. What was that Forbes girl's name? You know, the one with the wall eyes, Diane, wasn't it?
No, Denise. Diane was the one with the bony elbows. That wasn't Wall in Denise's eyes, it was soul. We used to talk sonnets together.
You were on the floor with her 5 times that last night I saw you. I mean, at the Hammersmiths.
Hammersmith's what?
Ball. What were we talking about?
Eyes, I thought, and elbows.
Those Hammersmiths had too much money. At Mines, wasn't it? They couldn't get a glass of plain water in their house. Everything at that ball was dreadfully overdone.
Yes, it was.
Such a crowd there was. I lost something at that ball.
So did I.
A glove.
I lost caste. I hobnobbed half the evening with one of the Hammersmith's miners, a fellow who kept his hands in his pockets and talked like an archangel about sluice boxes.
A pearl gray glove. Nearly new.
First-class chap, that miner. Man who hated olives and elevators. A man who handled mountains as croquettes and built tunnels in the air. A man who never uttered a word of silly nonsense in his life. Which reminds me, did you sign those lease renewal applications yet, Madama? They've got to be on file in the land office by the 31st.
Good night, Teddy.
Aren't you going to bed already?
That warm July night, Madame Bo Peep slept poorly. There were centipedes in this country, she felt sure, and vast, lonely, desolate, empty wastes, all within strong barbed wire fences. And managers who were thinking of resigning, who remembered balls at which they had proposed only by the talk of miners about sluice boxes. How could she have ever thought this burning land was a paradise? She rose late and strangely subdued.
Mrs. Mac! Mrs. Mac, what on earth? What?
Centipede.
Centipede, oh, I knew it.
There. Oh, it's running away.
Oh, beastly thing, let it run.
Oh, no, not inside the house. We'll not know where it is. We must kill it, Madama. It's poisonous.
Oh, I'll take the broom, Mrs. Mac.
Oh, the mop. Oh, we've got to kill it.
There it goes down the passage, come on.
Oh, I'm terrified of the things. Don't let it get away.
Oh, all those hideous little yellow legs.
Oh, losh, Mr. Westlake's room. It's scuttled into Mr. Westlake's room, and him so particular about his privacy.
We'll have to go in, Mrs. Mac.
Aye, that will have to. Can you see it?
So, this is Teddy's room.
Can you see the beastie, Madama?
Huh? No, not a sign.
Oh, could be anywhere. In the bed. Or the bureau. Aye, the door of the bureau's open a wee bit.
Oh, let's try it together. I'd never have the nerve to kill it on my own, even if I were to see it.
Throw the door back wide.
All right, but stand by with that mop stick.
Aye. Do you see it, Madama?
It's there.
Where?
Why, there in the bureau. It's the same, I know it is.
The centipede.
The glove.
Glove.
One pearl grey glove, nearly new. He kept it all this time.
Kept it? A glove?
Oh, the brute, the darling. Oh, Mrs. Mac.
There, I found it.
Why, did you lose something?
The centipede. You've now forgotten him already. Oh, kill him.
Oh, there he goes. Quick, them up.
Get him! Oh!
There.
That's got him, the little monster.
It seems a poor sort of reward to murder it.
Reward, madame? A centipede?
Oh, Mrs. Mac, isn't it a beautiful morning? And isn't this prairie land the closest thing to paradise you ever saw?
Paradise? Well, I've never thought of it quite like that.
Good evening, Teddy.
Evening, madame.
Oh, Mrs. Mac tells me there's something missing from your room, but she couldn't say what.
Oh, it's nothing of importance, just a little something I seem to have mislaid.
No, poor Teddy, I'm so sorry.
Of absolutely no importance. Yes, a pleasant night, madame.
Pleasantly dark, Teddy?
Ah, quite dark. You mind if I have a cigar, madame?
No, I like it. I find the smoke fragrant.
Good. So do I. Where did you get that?
Oh, the glove? Oh, I've been looking for it for ages. Ever since the Hammersmith's ball, and today, chasing a centipede. Oh, Teddy.
You said never again to talk nonsense to you.
Please talk nonsense to me, Teddy, please. Again and again and again. 2 months after your leaving for Rancho de la Sombra, it was discovered that Colonel Beaupré's title was worthless. A deed came to light showing that he disposed of the property before his death. The matter was reported at once to your manager, Mr. West.
Octavia, darling, thought I'd come back here for midday chow, seeing you...
Teddy, what are you working on this ranch for?
Well, I told you, 100 per...
Teddy, I've just received a letter from my lawyer.
Oh.
The matter was reported to your manager, Mr. Westlake, who at once repurchased the property. It is entirely beyond my powers of conjecture to imagine how you have remained in ignorance of the fact. Repurchased the property. Did you, Teddy?
Yeah, it's my ranch, Dave. It's a mighty poor manager that can't absorb the boss's business if you give him time.
And you didn't breathe it. Oh, but darling, I thought you must be absolutely broken. I didn't care.
Well, to tell the truth, Dave, I didn't come down here to work for the salary. Well, that about kept me in cigars and sunburn lotion. I'm no millionaire, but we'll be well enough off.
Why did you come?
Well, I was sent south by my doctor.
Teddy?
I'm all right now. Ozone and rest and work and all that.
But what?
Right along. No, don't look like that, darling. It's okay now. But it was worrying for a while.
Teddy.
Oh, darling. Hey, what do you say to a wedding trip on a white yacht through the Mediterranean?
Darling, what do you say to a wedding gallop among the flocks and back to a wedding breakfast with Mrs. Mac on the veranda with maybe some orange blossoms stuck to the red jar over the table?
Little Bo Peep has lost her sheep and doesn't know where to find 'em. Let 'em alone and they'll come home
And what Octavia whispered in Teddy's ear is one of the tales they brought behind them.
The world of O.Henry was a fascinating forum in which the poor and the wealthy, the sad and the gay rubbed shoulders in the most diverting fashion. Each had a story to tell. This was one of them, brought to you in the O.Henry Playhouse. This was an Artransa production, dramatized by Kay Keavney and produced by Jim Bradley.